Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here with my next Avatar news update video, and this is a big one. Out of nowhere, Avatar The Last Airbender novels have been announced. Specifically, novels about Avatar Kyoshi. And this is big news. I've been wanting novels and to do something like this for a long time, and it seems like this is exactly what I wanted. This looks very positive. So EW.com get the exclusive on this reveal. Here is the cover for the first book, The Rise of Kyoshi. Both of the books are about Kyoshi. So this is the first one, covering her origin, as we'll delve into a little later on. Written by F.C. Yee, who's the author, with Avatar co-creator Michael Dante DiMartino there for consultation. There's not a lot to go through in here. I think we'll get to the product page on the publisher's website in just a second. Not too much to really talk about here because they basically just post stuff from the page we'll get to. Just that written in consultation with Michael Dante DiMartino, so that's good to know. He is heavily involved, and he also has experience writing young adult novels himself with Rebel Genius and so on, so this seems like a perfect fit. And there's no art as such involved here, so that would make sense why Mike wouldn't necessarily need to be Brian wouldn't need to be overly involved in this either. But yeah, he just says that, part of the reason for this is that Avatar Kyoshi is one of the characters fans often ask him about, and he wants to expand out her legend, and they're happy to obviously get basically the license to do this as novels. Abrams Children's Books, who I'm not particularly familiar with, but I assume they're either up and coming or fairly well established. And yeah, it's going to be, as he says, here, epic YA saga, young adult. And I think this is going to be perfect. Like, it's not going to be the full-on fantasy stuff with all the detail that perhaps a Halo novel or a full-on Star Wars novel would cover, Lord of the Rings type stuff. But young adult is more or less what you would call Avatar as a show as well. Like, it's not really a kid show. Young adult sort of describes what it is perfectly, where it's accessible, but there's also enough depth there that it's going to grab you. So I'm very, very happy to see this announced. So yeah, The Rise of Kyoshi will publish in July 2019. Pre-order the book here, and that is this page here on the Abrams Book website. So once again, there's the cover, Avatar The Rise of Kyoshi by F.C. Yee. And we get here, publication date July 16th, specifically 2019. Price is going to be $18.99 because it is a hardback, as we can see here. And then I think the most notable thing here, page count 336. That's a lengthy book. That's a good page count to have. I was worried when I first read the article. I almost got the impression that this is going to be a really quick, like 60-page basic sort of recap stuff of just the little bits of Kyoshi's life that we already know about. But to find out that, like, read this page and be like, oh, okay, 336 pages. They're going in depth with this, and the description here makes that very, very clear. So, The Rise of Kyoshi delves into the story of Kyoshi, the Earth Kingdom-born avatar, the longest living avatar in this beloved world's history. Kyoshi established the brave and respected Kyoshi warriors, but also founded the secret of Dai Li, which led to the corruption, decline, and fall of her own nation. The first of two novels based on Kyoshi, The Rise of Kyoshi, maps her journey from a girl of humble origins to the merciless pursuer of justice who is still feared and admired centuries after she became the Avatar. So that's a really cool description. Most notable thing here in terms of brand new stuff, it's going to map her journey from a girl of humble origins all the way to where I suppose we'll probably find out about her death. Because obviously the article specifically mentions the whole 230 years old thing, and they're making a big deal about that she's the longest living person in, like, the Avatar world. So that's really cool, and in a sense, just that feat alone makes this a story worth telling, because while we knew about the whole 42nd Earth King incident, the peasant uprising in Ba Sing Se, which led to the formation of the Dai Li, we knew the basic gist of the formation of the Kyoshi warriors from Shells, the comic, and other little things. Like, I think Korra confirmed that Kyoshi was bisexual. What else? She at some point had a daughter named Coco who became the leader of the island after Kyoshi, which is a bit of a weird one in that the implication would almost be that like she outlived her daughter. So again, they'll need to, I suppose, go into in the second book, I assume, details on how she lived to be that old, because Guru Patik looks like he's like you can tell he's very, very old, and just the fact that he's a monk and a guru is kind of what's kept him, going at 150. But this is like, nearly 100 years over that. Like, how powerful was she by the end when she's over 200 years old? So this is going to be really, really interesting. I'm glad that they're covering the full-on origin, and that I assume that means we're going to find out how she was found out to be the Avatar, how she started her training, who trained her, that sort of stuff. Really get a sense of who she is when she's younger, and in a way what morphs her into this kind of incredibly tough character who everyone just like views as like someone you didn't want to cross, because she's always the one who doesn't mince words with any of these situations. So I'm very, very excited for this. I think Kyoshi as the first one, I think that's perfectly fine to start. I think there's enough details of like that we already know to get people invested, and then the fact that they're making it a full-on like character origin type thing is really, I think, going to get people invested. Once the writing is good, this is going to be very, very interesting, and it's exactly what I wanted. We get a little bit about the author, and that's really all there is. So it's one of those things like, because it's a novel, we're not going to hear a lot about this book until much closer to the release. Like, we're only in August 2018 now. The book's in July 2019. But exactly the sort of announcement that we needed, with potentially like a longer delay now while we wait for whatever happens with the next Korra comic. Something like this was absolutely needed, given that the comics seem a little slow at the moment, and hopefully this really helps to fill in a lot of those gaps, and I hope they sell well so that they can do more series focused on potentially other characters if they want to, or whole new stories. Or I think this is almost a perfect place to tell some stories with the Avatar characters when they're older. Like, if you want to tell the story of like where like one of the characters gets married or something like that, has kids, or it's an event that happens while they're older, books I think are the perfect place to do that. But yeah, that's the news. In the comments, let me know what your thoughts are. Avatar novels, the decision to focus on Kyoshi here, and how you think they'll do with, I suppose, telling a big detailed story while incorporating all of the more, I suppose, lore focused kind of details from comics and books and facts here and there. Will they get all the continuity right with a character like this? Given that the whole reason she's 230 years old is more or less because of like what almost feels like a mistake that they made when they said that, like, oh, Avatar Kyoshi was born here almost 400 years ago, and it's like, I don't think you realized how many avatars there were in between, where she is and where like Aang is. So it was almost a mistake that she ended up having to be 230 years old to fill in the timeline. But now they're making a big deal out of it, so we'll see how they do it. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.